Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Plainfield TV. For the first time in over a week, we are back home. And boy, how glad is it to be back home. I mean, yeah, it's been a week since we've last done a Plainfield TV live broadcast, but I'm so happy that we're finally back here at LOT's coverage area. And I bet we're ready for tomorrow's event, but of course we still got to get through the rest of tonight. So, we thank you for tuning into our live streams that we have ran over the course of this of our time away from home, including the Dave & Buster's live stream, the Flipper McCoy, the Jungle Golf, along with the talk streams from the hotels. The first stream from Charlottesville, the other one, we didn't do one in Williamsburg. Yeah, I don't think we did one in Williamsburg. The two in Virginia Beach, and the one I was a part in on Youngstown's End, from the last hotel near the airport. And now we're back here in our good old home of Plainfield, ready to once again bring you live entertainment. So, of course, like I said on the stream that we ran over at our grandparents', I said that we were going to be announcing highlights from the trip, along with everything else that comes in between. So that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. And of course, my good friend Nani also came along for the ride. Oh yeah, and also I had a picture of Una and Nani on a black background. Basically it was this, except the logo was taken out, the Plainfield logo was taken out. So I just had Nani like full on the right hand side of my tablet screen with the IM bot on the left, as if Nani's literally just like kind of like as if I was at home. Because yeah, so like I said, we're gonna go through the highlights. So our first thing that we're gonna be doing here, of course, is we're gonna be taking a look at some of the highlights from the trip, exactly how it played out. So yeah, I don't know if Gage is gonna find his way on here, but Gage, if you do somehow find your way on here, I did your request. I did Mark Levin for the sign-on. Even though that's not what we usually do, this is a special occasion, because we're back for the first time in over a week. And yes, of course, we have severe weather ongoing, but it's nearly done. So, let me show you exactly how the trip played out. So, of course, some of you remember, of course, we signed off the air on Wednesday night, right after all those tests. Then on Thursday, of course, we got up, had breakfast. I got some last monthlies before I shut my radios off, and then we got on the road. Got on I-55, went into Oak Lawn to drop off the car, and then we went to Midway, and we took our flight all the way through, and we landed in Richmond, right here in Central Virginia. And then we got our rental car. We went west on I-64, with our first stop being in Charlottesville. So, for a brief time during this trip, we were served by Sterling, Virginia. That's right, the National Weather Service office in Sterling, Virginia. And the main transmitter, of course, was Covesville, which is in Charlottesville. And so yeah, I will show you a little bit of Charlottesville, though, because we actually did stop at quite a lot of places along the way, although we did not do as much as we had thought. So let me show you where exactly we had went to. So, our first hotel, I don't know if you saw the video, our first hotel, oh wait, that's not the right, yeah, here we go. Should be Doubletree, Charlottesville. Yes, this is the place right here. So, this was the first hotel we stopped at, Doubletree by Hilton. So this was the first hotel on the trip. This isn't what our room looked like, but here was what the pool looked like. Here's what the pool looked like, though. This is what the pool looked like, and it would be much better if Nani went along with me into the pool, but really, yeah. So that's the pool there. We had a breakfast buffet, and actually the first night of the trip, I actually tried out Dairy Queen for the first time, because, well, here's the thing: all the Dairy Queens in the Chicagoland area, well, actually near me, they're all treat only, which is a shame, because I've seen the burgers in their commercials, and I thought, you know what, I should try Dairy Queen. And so, since there was a grill and chill like just down the road from here, I thought, you know what, this is perfect. Let's try it. So we tried Dairy Queen. I got a burger, I got fries, and I got cheese curds along with it. The cheese curds were really good. They have to be good. But the fries and the burgers, nah, they didn't taste. They tasted okay, but not as good as I had hoped. So, yeah. I rate Dairy Queen 8 out of 10 of all the places that I've had. So here was the front. Here was the fountain that I record. Yes, I did record all the fountains on this trip. And I did say I was hoping to get some footage of I-64 along the way. Well, unfortunately, no, I decided not to, because, of course, the road trip was way too long, and I did not want to record like a 1-hour piece of footage only to end up with only 64 megabytes of storage left, and that's not even going to be enough space to fit any alerts on there, should I get any. And, of course, during that ride, I did do some DXing, and I came across some interesting catches along the way. So, of course, I did pick up Covesville. We were starting to lose Richmond. And then, when I got into Channel 7, I was picking up KHB 36 out of Manassas. And also, KHB 36 guy uploaded something that I'll explain a little later, once we get to that point. But this is kind of what well, it's not like that. We were on the third, I think we were on the 3rd floor. Here's a look at, yeah, we were on the 3rd floor. This is really kind of what it looked like, except it was in a different order. This is actually one of those fold-out beds. Like, it's a couch that turns into a bed. So you take the cushions off, and then you pull the hatch, and then it comes out into a standard bed. And I actually like that idea. So the next hotel for our next trip, we'll actually do the fold-out bed concept. And I maybe might need to go a little bit more of having Nani on the side of the IM thing when I'm asleep, but there's a reason why I always like to show Nani often on my broadcasts when I go through all the stuff. So yeah, that was the first hotel. And then also, as part of trip preparations, we of course had to stop at Walmart to pick up some important grocery items and everything else. But here was actually an interesting story about this specific Walmart. The ceilings were much lower than the Walmarts that we know of here in the Chicagoland area. because the ceilings are actually much higher in those Walmarts than there are in this Walmart. So it felt like this was a Kmart instead of a Walmart. Like this was a Kmart and then they turned it into a Walmart. That's kind of what it was, really, but it isn't. But the really interesting story was actually at the end, like when we have everything we need and we were ready to check out. So, when we were finding a checkout line, all the cashier registers were closed. There were no cashiers. It was literally all self-checkout until 2 cashiers came in, opened up lanes 10, 11, and when we saw those lanes closed, we were like, okay, well, we're going to have to do the self-checkout. It's all self-checkout for right now. And then those 2 cashiers appeared, pretty much saving the day from that. Because if we were to do the self-checkout, there was some beer, there was alcohol associated with the items in the transactions. So if we were to scan those items at the self-checkout, it would have to ask for age verification for whoever was purchasing the items. And of course, I was not purchased. Of course, I would never purchase alcohol. I would never purchase any alcohol. I would never purchase anything like that. Never would I ever purchase anything. And then, of course, after Walmart, we got back to the hotel and we just relaxed for the night. But it was a pretty good stay, really, at this hotel. I'll show you a little more of the fountain here. Well, this was as of June of 2017. The water level was actually much higher here. And then, of course, in the morning, I think we were on. I think we were on the 3rd floor of the DoubleTree, weren't we? Yeah, we were on the 3rd level of the DoubleTree. And then after that, we went over to our first major stop along this trip, and that's actually right over here at the Thomas Jefferson House, or Monticello as it's called. It's called Monticello. Of course, we drove through US 250 and Richmond Road, and then eventually we came across a lot of. So yeah, we stopped at the Monticello in Charlottesville before heading home. But along the way, when we were heading there, I think either when we were heading there, I think it was either while we were heading there or... that's weird. Because I remember pulling that location up. Hold on, let me... This isn't one of the, this isn't the exact place, but you know what, now that we brought this up, I'll just go and show a little bit of it here, but that's not the exact pool that we saw. Now, what was interesting, and really what caught me, was actually Meade Avenue. So let me pull up the map. Let me see. Oh, that was probably for when I was looking up that location earlier. Drop pin. Remove that pin. Let's see. More recents. And we should find... Okay. I typed it in incorrectly. Here we go. Let me try this again. Yes, here we go. Here was the place I was looking for. So what was interesting here was that this is Meade Avenue, and one of my grandparents lives on Meade Avenue. And so when we initially got on this road, my parents were telling them that we're on our way to our grandma's house. in Charlottesville. But not really. And of course, the main feature was this: the Owsley Pool. The Onesti Pool, actually. It's actually the Onesti Pool. It's called the Onesti Pool. Now, of course, this caught my attention at the last second, because I don't know if we were considering on visiting here, but I did not see this come up until the very last second. So, I'll actually show you some pictures of the place, and show you a little bit. So, there's a submarine slide. It was closed at the time we passed it, so of course the water was not on yet. So there was a large tipping bucket, just like at Raging Waves. Just like at Cypress Cove and Raging Waves, this large bucket would fill up with water and then dump down this roof thing and then onto the guests below. Plus, this is a mushroom I have not seen in person before, so that was interesting. So yeah, that's what the bucket was. And there's the mushroom right there. And that's the entrance. This is the Farmers in the Park from 2016. There's some more pictures of the there's some more pictures of the place. I did see a few, but I didn't get a chance to see all of them. But that's okay. But now I get to share the entire collection with all of you. So yeah, that's the bucket. So right there, that's the bucket. So then, of course, we took this to Monticello. And then after that, after Monticello, we moved on to the next stretch of our trip. We actually continued. We went east on I-64. I know it's still in Street View, but yes, this is actually a preview, kinda, of what we are going to be making. We are actually going to be doing a Street View video of I-64. So we're going to do a Street View video of I-64 from Charlottesville to Norfolk. But that's actually at the end here. So this was the rest area we stopped in, and literally the whole way from Charlottesville all the way, we were listening. My dad literally put on Collective Soul on Pandora. And yes, Collective Soul did come to Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, later that day, but we were away from the area at the time. So then here is, and then because we did not want to go through all the Richmond traffic cluster schmuck, we instead took Interstate 295, or as I like to call it, the Richmond Bypass. It is the Richmond Bypass because it does get traffic away from, the cluster schmuck of I-64 and I-95. Specifically, traffic was jammed in the northbound direction on I-95. That was on day one of the trip, and we were going through Richmond, leaving the airport. So here's I-295 and I-95. So you can see how interesting this configuration was. And then here are the ramps from I-95 onto I-295 to and from I-295. And then, of course, we kept going on I-295 all the way up until, and look at this. We did come across US 301 at some point along this journey. And right here is I-64. But let's go back for a second because we came across US 301 right over here. The United States 301 Nice Memorial Bridge. I can make a really good connection to the 301 bridge. When I saw the US 301 signs, it would remind me of the US 301 Nice Memorial Bridge. But anyway, then we got off of 295 onto I-64. So we got off of here, and we then continued. Then we continued east from there on I-64 all the way to Williamsburg. But this is where Wakefield's welcoming show began, because just as we left the Monticello parking lot, they issued a flash flood warning for the city of Williamsburg, and I managed to pick up Richmond, and so I was able to get it on there. And then when we got closer to Williamsburg, like near the exit, there was another one. It was for Sussex County, and this time I was able to get it on KHB 37, which would be the main transmitter for the remainder of the trip, for the majority of the rest of the trip. But the thing was, at the Doubletree, we were barely able to pick up Charlottesville, even though the transmitter is literally right in the town. So yeah, of course, then we got off of I-64, we took all the way to Williamsburg, and then the next hotel after... Oh, sorry about that, but anyway. And then the next hotel was actually a Hampton. I think this was the exact one. No, that's not it. No, it's not the one. There's another one. This was the one was a Days Inn. Yeah, here we go. Here was the exact Hampton that we stayed at for the next part of this was the second hotel on the trip, and we actually stayed 2 nights there. It had a nice, the Days Inn nearby had a water fountain. There was a water fountain at the Days Inn next door, which our Doubletree had a fountain, so the Days Inn had to have a fountain. But I'll actually show you. Let's see what it looked like in 07, if that fountain had been there. Hey, that fountain's been there all this time. Wow. So there's April. Yeah, all these years it's been here. It's impressive. But yeah, so yeah, that's the Days Inn with that water fountain. But then here was our hotel. Here was our hotel next door. Yeah, here was the hotel. This is Days Inn. This is Hampton Inn, Williamsburg. Of course, we stayed 2 nights here. We did not go to the pool. I decided not to do the pool at this location, but this is actually, and fittingly enough, this is exactly what our room looked like. Except this is not the kind of view we got. There was actually an indoor and an outdoor pool, although our hotel room had a view of the outdoor pool. So yes, there was an indoor and there was an outdoor pool. So here was the outdoor pool. But when I thought of the outdoor pool, I thought that belonged to the nearby Days Inn. And actually, that is clearly not the case, because the nearby Days Inn has its own outdoor pool. Their outdoor pool is larger. It's both indoor and outdoor, and here's the hot tub. So yeah, it has both an indoor and an outdoor pool. And of course the outdoor pool is open seasonally, as with all outdoor pools. And then we checked out the so then we checked out Jamestown Settlement, Yorktown, and Colonial Williamsburg. But look right here, WHRO Public Media. Yep, the local PBS affiliate in this area. And of course, they had to run a weekly. And that's exactly what they did. They ran a weekly test. But anyway, next comes the Jamestown settlement, which was actually one of the stops along the way. We actually stopped here at this place, and it had a interesting water fountain at the front. And at the front it had this nice water fountain with this ship with flags. And then it actually had a it's a quadricentennial park. It's a little miniature park, really, but what it really is actually like a timeline of the order of all 50 states entering the Union. So basically, it started with the states in the 13 colonies, and then eventually moving on further into the future of all the remaining of the 50 states becoming part of what is now the United States. And then at the end of this line here are the two remaining territories, Alaska and Hawaii. And since this all goes in order, they all have their associated state flags. See, of course, they all go in order with their flags, and our state was over here on this side, right here. So right here is our state. Virginia was also on that line as well. So yeah, we stopped at Jamestown and Colonial Williamsburg that night. And look, there's even a public beach. Jamestown Beach. I was surprised to find a public beach here. But yeah. But then what was interesting here was that I thought this right here, I thought it was going to be a bridge tunnel. This was old, but there's actually a new one now. So here's Jamestown Road. But when I thought this was going to be a bridge tunnel, well, no. Actually, it wasn't. What it actually was is a ferry service. It was actually a ferry service. What it actually was a ferry. It was a ferry service taking cars from here all the way over here to the other side. So rather than building a bridge tunnel, they actually decided to make a ferry service. I mean, you barely see any of these ferry services nowadays. Oh look, Jamestown Point Park Playground. Too bad we didn't get to check this out. Well, let's take a look at it anyway. Cool. And Marion and Winston, Alabama. And yep, good evening to everybody watching. Yeah, good evening to everybody watching. I don't know if you were able to join our first live stream, but this is, of course, what we were talking about, what we were going to do later tonight, later after the stream. And then we did Colonial Williamsburg afterward. And it was actually all on that same Saturday. Yeah, it was on that same Saturday. So that was the fountain at Jamestown. Yeah, so we did Jamestown and Williamsburg that day. And here was the water fountain there. I'm giving you a little bit of highlights for giving you exactly how the trip played out. So this is called the first half of the trip. So then, of course, we went through the visitor center, and we actually did Colonial Williamsburg via this pedestrian bridge. So we took this pedestrian structure, through some paths. But the most interesting part of all was that we actually came across some tunnels. We actually went through a tunnel along the way during this little trip here. Yeah, there's some of the power lines that go through here. So, yeah, we did visit some tunnels. We did go through some tunnels along the way. And then, of course, we were going to do some shopping at Merchant Square, but unfortunately, it was raining pretty hard, so that prevented us from continuing any further. But man, oh man, was it quite warm. And then, yeah, as the rain started to come down, we had thought of going to the shops after we had dinner at the King's Arm Tavern. After we had dinner there, we were thinking about going to the gift shop and actually purchasing additional souvenirs. But when the rain came down really hard and it was a thunderstorm out there, I saw what Wakefield was doing. I saw what Sterling was doing also, and I was preparing for Wakefield's craziness. And so we decided to skip the shop and take the shuttle back to the visitor center and get back to the hotel. And of course we got back in time, because that's when Wakefield started going crazy, issuing marine warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, among other things. And then of course came day 2. And then of course came day 3 of the trip, really. Yeah, then came day 3. This was actually going to be the end of the first half of the trip. So, day 3, I have the light off, but yeah. So then day 3 came Yorktown Battlefield. So we stopped here at the visitor center, but what we actually did was like a driving tour. But what we did was actually a driving tour of the battlefield. And so it actually is kind of like a reminder of that. It kind of was like the tour of the Chickamauga battlefield back in Georgia. This is kind of similar to that, because as you go through the stops, then there's audio files associated with it that actually tell you a little more about where you're at. So there's redoubt 9 and 10. Like, for example, here's a Victory Monument. And of course, here's a public beach. So actually, here is a public beach. This is a public beach as well. I don't know and yes, people were actually swimming at that beach along the river. So, yeah, and then also along the way we came across the Coleman Memorial Bridge, which carries US 17. And look at this. It was actually a drawbridge. With a bridge that high, I thought it wasn't going to be a drawbridge. But it was. I do not know why. Oh yeah, that's right, because of the way the truss was designed and how large the ships go through the river. So, then after we did Yorktown, my parents didn't want to check out all of it. They only wanted to check out the most significant parts. But then after that, we went to the American Revolution Museum nearby. So let me go ahead and type that in. Yeah, so then afterward we went to the American Revolution Museum of Yorktown nearby, which actually takes you through additional forms of life in Yorktown. Like, there's actually like an actual village. Like, there was an actual depiction of a village, a live cannon, and we didn't do the special exhibit because it was under renovation at the time, but oh well. But look at that. Actual tents, and there was actual live demonstration of the weapons that were used during that time frame. And here's a look around some of the exhibits of the museum. And then after that, we continued on to Yorktown. We then actually continued on to Norfolk. And so to do that, though, we actually, yes, of course, had to get to I-64. And let's see if I remember which exit we exactly came across. I think I'm going way too far, am I? I think I'm going way too far. Yeah, let's see if I can remember. Yeah, I think I went way too far because I think we were at exit 200 something. But yeah, what I can tell you while I locate the exact... Oh, this could be it right here. Yes, here we go. This is it. So, we were stopping here at this 7-Eleven for gas, which actually, surprisingly, we got a very nice deal. We got a very good deal on gas. And of course, that was not all. We actually had a box of fruit snacks that we purchased at Walmart. We actually had that for the duration of the ride. But also, while we stopped here at 7-Eleven, I also had to get a little bag of goldfish, like another little snack for the ride, along with the big gulp. Ooh, who hasn't had a big gulp at a 7-Eleven? And of course, my drink of choice was the lemonade. And boy, it was good. It was so good. I could hardly resist. So, of course, we got our car filled up. We've got the snacks and drinks. And then we continued on our trek down east. And then something interesting happened when we got to the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. So we pretty much continued down I-64 the entire way through. But something interesting did happen once we came to the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. So right here, this said stop ahead. And literally while we were stopped in that traffic from the tunnel, Wakefield decided to put out an SVR. I turned it on. I heard the EOMs, but thankfully they replayed it right away. So I was still able to get it, thankfully. And yes, again, the main station at the time was Norfolk. And then, of course, after sitting in that jam for 30 minutes, traffic finally continued on to the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. But, you know what was interesting? They're actually building a new bridge. Now, I have never heard anything about this Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel replacement project, or what its purpose really is, but I am actually going to take a look at some of this right now.
Here's to traveling by fork.
So this is actually part of an expansion project. This is part of an expansion project.
The I-64 corridor is one of the most congested areas in all of Virginia, with backups often exceeding 6 miles during peak traffic hours. The Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel expansion, the single largest transportation infrastructure project in Virginia's history, is being developed to improve traffic flow and support future growth.
So this is actually being done as part of a widening project, which is actually going to replace these two bridges right here. And new tunnels are being built as well. So this is part of a widening project for the interstate. So that's why this is happening. So yeah, the reason why they're actually replacing this bridge here is actually part of an expansion project of the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, because this is actually one of the most congested areas in the entire state. So they're actually widening the roadway and replacing this bridge at the same time. So they're actually building what they're actually doing is they're building a brand new Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. They're replacing the original structures. So they're going to build an expansion of I-64 through the Hampton Roads area. So that's not all. So they're replacing this bridge tunnel right here. So they're replacing all these trestles. They are replacing this tunnel. They're replacing the tunnel, and I'll show you the construction ongoing here on this side. And see, so far from what I've seen, yeah, according to the latest update I've seen, from my point of view, the actual construction is moving along really nicely. The piers are actually starting to come up now for the new structures. So this already is looking like a pretty interesting project. But yeah, that's not all. That's not the only structures that are getting replaced, though. These structures over the Woolbury Bay are also getting replaced. So these structures, too, must go as part of this. So yeah, here's this little spot on, and at this point we are still in Norfolk. I remember seeing palm trees be put in at this specific side of the... It was either on this side or it was on the other side. No, it was probably on this side. From what I remember, it was likely on this side. It was likely on this side of the bridge from what I remember. But this view here is from October 21. So they probably were put in here fairly recently. or maybe I just wasn't. I was paying attention, but now I've lost count of where exactly it was. So, the Woolbury Bay Bridge is also getting replaced and widened. And then, of course, a similar part to the Kennedy Expressway. I did not mean to minimize it. And then the similar part to the Kennedy Expressway is actually right here. This is the I-64. These are the I-64 reversible express lanes. So just like the Kennedy Expressway in Chicago, these lanes change to a different direction of operation depending on the traffic flow. Like depending on if traffic demands going north or west or east during the morning rush hour, then the express lanes will open for eastbound traffic, which it was open for westbound traffic at the time, so we cannot do the express lanes. And yes, they are also tolled. So we did have a toll pass with us as part of the rental car. So then we took I-64 all the way over to the interchange with I-264. But there was not much left to go of I-64 anyway, because it ends right here at I-664 and the other direction of I-264. So if we were to do 64 all the way to 264, we would basically be put right back here. So, of course, we exited the interstate right over here. We crossed over 264 westbound, and then we got on to the eastbound direction of the road of the interstate, and this is called the Virginia Beach Expressway. Then of course we crossed here. I think there was a sign somewhere. Was this an underpass? I think there was a sign somewhere that said "Welcome to Virginia Beach." Well, actually, this was part of a construction project, so I do not think it was here at the time. I think at the time these shots were taken, the interchange was likely redone, so we didn't get the view that said "Welcome to Virginia Beach." I'm sure once the Google Maps truck goes back by this area later on in the future at some point, then they'll probably get the new shots. And we'll have the updated shots of the Hampton Roads Bridge replacement and everything else. And then, of course, we took 264 east all the way here to the end at 21st Street. And then this is what took us into Virginia Beach. So we continued it down 21st Street. And then this is where the palm trees started coming in. We start looking around, and then there are palm trees. Like right over here, there's two of them. But then there's actually a lot more. We could have continued all the way to the end of 21st Street, but we went to Pacific Avenue instead. So these are what the lampposts look like. This is as of April 2019. This is actually what they looked like. Don't know what they had going on there. So we continued down until we got to 11th Street. And then right here, this would then be the stop of our third hotel on this trip, and it's this one right here, the Hampton Inn. Hampton Inn Oceanfront South. Now, there are 2 Hampton Inns on the Virginia Beach oceanfront, but mainly there were 2 of them. And there was another palm tree here, but there used to be 1. But look at how interesting this water fountain is at this Days Inn. Of course, it's always the Days Inn that gets these fountains while the Hampton does not, which is pretty weird. But then I thought this, and then right here at the Hampton right across, I thought this swimming pool right here belonged to the Hampton Inn. But when I looked over what it said over here, it says that this belongs to the nearby Spring Hill. The Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. This is where it belongs to. And of course, palm trees right there. And then I'll actually show you some of the views that we got. This is actually what our second room was like. We actually had 2 rooms because we had an incident at the first. But this is pretty close to exactly what we had. Here was the swimming pool. That's the hallway. This is the breakfast buffet. And yes, here is almost exactly. I think this was exactly. Yeah, I think this exactly was what our first room. I don't think it was, but it's close enough. This is closely resembling what our first room was like. We were literally 8 stories. We were literally 8 stories high, and this was the view we got. There were several palm trees over here as well. I don't think there were any in this shot, which kind of amuses me in some way. But yeah, and oh yeah, I think I'm looking at the wrong picture here. Yeah, there they are, right there. Except they grew much larger now. So, on day 4, kicking off the second half of the trip, we actually went down the boardwalk. We actually went on the Virginia Beach boardwalk. So we actually took the boardwalk. We actually didn't really take the entire, I wouldn't really say the entire boardwalk, but I'll actually go ahead and take you down the whole boardwalk. We'll start by going north here to the Virginia Beach Fishing Pier. And yes, the entire day it was really hot. It was really hot the entire day. And of course those palm trees didn't really mind that. I don't know what these were doing on the beach for, which is weird. And this was on this was on Monday, because we arrived on a Sunday, which is where I got because that Yorktown Museum was where I got the WOKA test, and then I got the KDKA on rewind at the Virginia Beach Hotel, and of course I got the associated IPAWS test and part of the East Coast severe weather event. So then of course we continued all the way down the boardwalk here. I'll actually go ahead and take you. We did get up early this morning, which is why I am yawning kind of badly, but that's That's not my fault, really. But then the highlight of this, of the boardwalk, was actually right here. This is a statue of King Neptune. And then right here is another one of those playgrounds. And here's an amphitheater. And then at that point, there actually wasn't much left to go of the boardwalk. I know it's switching between November and December and January and February and all that. I know it's switching between those views. And that warning for Sussex was the only one they issued that day. Monday, they barely ever issued anything. And then on that very same day, I was talking about earlier that I was picking up both WXM 80 Riverhead, New York, and KHB 38 Atlantic City, New Jersey, all the way from Virginia Beach. Now, both transmitters are 300 plus miles away. So here is the north end of the boardwalk. This is the end of the northbound direction of the boardwalk. So Riverhead actually is now the second farthest DX that I have ever captured. So now in terms of all of the transmitters that I've been able to DX, Riverhead from Virginia Beach actually is now the second farthest DX that I have ever managed to capture. Again, the DX from Rochester, picking up Rochester, Minnesota from my house, that actually remains number 1 on the list. That remains number 1. Riverhead from Virginia Beach is number 2. Atlantic City from Virginia Beach is number 3. Asheville from Isle Palms is number 4. Saundersville, number 5 on the list. Yeah, and I said number 5 was the I couldn't forget about Eatonton's number 5, Saundersville's number 6. Alright. What I was going to say was that the DX from my house to Hesperia remains number 7 on that list. Yeah, it was actually something, yeah. So, on that same day when we did the boardwalk, we did the Flipper McCoy. Whatever. But actually it was over here on the north end, as literally just before we actually, and I actually brought this up, we actually decided to stop for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. We stopped for Ben & Jerry's ice cream right here. And boy, was it good. Of course, I got the regular vanilla flavor. But I also wanted the pineapple. I also tried the pineapple and the chocolate chip flavor. Boy, those were good. They were so good. I couldn't even resist. And then, of course, after that, we walked right over to the Flipper McCoy. And we did have a lot of fun there. So, yeah, here are all the skee balls they had. Of course, they had the laser tag. Here was Lane Master. And yes, I did play Lane Master. For those who saw my live stream from this place, yes, we did play Lane Master. I didn't see the other side. We mainly just did about one side, and that was it. Yeah, I didn't check out like much of the place though, but that's okay. Down the Clown, I think we did that one too. The Big Bass Wheel, I did not see it on the other side. That was my fault. But at least we got to play Deal or No Deal. The unusual edition, the Wheel of Fortune machine, was different. And Monopoly, of course, we played Monopoly. We did Quick Drop as well. We decided to save Space Invaders for the next place. So yeah, those were some of the games that we played at the Flipper McCoy. Yes, that was, so yeah, that was the first place. And then eventually later on, we did the Jungle Golf of Virginia Beach. So of course, we had the Pirates Golf and we had the Pirate Golf and the Jungle Golf to choose from, and we chose Jungle Golf to play at. In fact, how did we decided on these places? By the way, by the Monster coupon book that they had for free. So you actually literally had access to free coupons for these places when you visit. So we used the coupon. We actually used the 2 coupons for this place. $1 off per person for a round of mini golf, and 1 arcade card for $20 plus $3 of bonus play. So we had $23 on that Jungle Golf stream, if you also saw that. So yeah, we did Jungle Golf, and it was entirely based out of, the whole theme was Africa, really, because here's what looks like Mount Kilimanjaro. There was one also named Serengeti Victoria Bridge. Yeah, there was something also named Serengeti. Yeah, that's but yeah, that's what the but yeah, this is what the arcade. Well, of course the gates were a lot different. They were a lot different and in layout. by what you see here. So yeah, of course, we hope you enjoyed that stream of Jungle Golf of Virginia Beach. And on the first night, we had dinner at the Bunker. We had dinner at the Bunker Brew Pub on the first night. So I'll actually show you their menu here. So here's what they had on the menu. This is from May of 2021, so their menu items might have changed. But the O'Reilly item on the menu really caught my attention. It definitely did. So yeah, that's where we had dinner. So yeah, that's where we had dinner the first night. What was the... So... Yeah, that was... Yeah, that was Sunday night. And then on Monday night, with the boardwalk, we actually had dinner at a sports. It was at a sports pub. But it was actually at a sports pub place that we had dinner at, but and we actually got there and at Chicho's, that was actually in our hotel, but oh yes, here we go. Here was the place, the Murphy's Grand Irish Pub. Now, we actually did the freebie. No, not the freebies that you'd see in the Tony's store. That's actually the name of the car, Uber in Virginia Beach. That is the freebie. So, our experience with it was pretty inconsistent because we waited for almost an hour for our driver, and the driver did not even know didn't even remember where we were. So, of course, we did the Murphys. Of course, we had to stop at the nearby 7-Eleven right before we reached the golf place. And then after golf, we waited here for over 30 minutes. We ended up signing the driver because the driver didn't even know where we was going. So we just said, forget it. They just canceled the driver, and then we walked all the way back to our hotel. But of course, it couldn't be complete without a few stops and a few other, for a brief look at some of the other hotel fixtures along the way. Like, for example, the water fountain at the Fairfield Suites. And yes, I did post these videos of the water fountains individually and separately. And then there was another water fountain right over here near the Best Western Plus. It's right there. that fountain wasn't working at the time, but it was when we were there. Yeah, but yeah, that was another fountain we came across on the way back to the hotel. And then, of course, besides that, the most interesting part was actually right around here, the beach arcade. It does open at 10 a.m., but so yes, this has the quick drop and connect 4 and down the clown, but what really caught my attention was actually on the other side, because on the other side, yeah, right here, these were rip-offs of popular arcade games that I had came across. I mean, winning the jackpot and quick drop. Yeah, it showed a complete video of the rip-offs of all these classic arcade games. Like, for example, that rip-off Monster Drop, that rip-off of, yeah, right here, this is the entire thing. Yeah, you can see the rip-off of Lane Master, the rip-off of a bunch of other things. I actually do have the entire video on my channel of the complete collection of all these rip-offs of these games. Plus, there was actually one weird translation that I had never actually heard of before. I actually do have the video. I do actually have an audio file. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the translation. I don't even know what that translates to. That is so weird. I do not even know what in the world that says. But then after listening to it multiple times, I thought it was saying place coin. But now, after thinking it over, it looks like it might be a Chinese or something-ish translation of something. And then when we came across the Lucky Monopoly arcade game, which I actually just downloaded the video. Yeah, that was from earlier. I'm going to clear this out because we're going to be playing around with something else a little later on here in our special welcome back celebration. And then when we came across, I'm just going to stop that. When we came across this game here, and nope, this is what you think it is. This is a rip-off arcade game, literally stealing the Angry Birds theme. Yep, the Angry Birds theme was literally stolen from Rofio and used on that game. Well, whoever was in charge of that game, they're definitely gonna get sued, or they did get sued. And we did take a little stroll through the Atlantic Fun Park, which of course did not have anything interesting to see. But we at least did have fun there otherwise. So that was that, and then came Tuesday, which actually was the most fun part of all. Here was actually the water park that I had suggested that we would visit, but we actually later took this off the list. This is the Ocean Breeze water park. from Ocean Breeze Motor World. So we were gonna stop here, but that's okay because we literally got to witness everything. So we did first, and then on the Tuesday, we first went to First Landing State Park. We did have to take all these trails, but we didn't take all of them, thankfully, which was very, very good. Because if we did, then, well, what else? Here's actually a little beach we came across along. This is Long Creek, but in reality, we were actually near Broad Bay. So there was actually right here, this was the parking entrance. Yeah, the parking / entrance for the place. And right down there was actually a beach. It was actually like a little beach. You could actually go swimming here in the summer, but really, and then after we did all that walking, then came the fun part. Yep, and then literally after we did all that walking, then came the fun part. Why is it not working? There we go, got it. Then came the fun part. Dave and Buster's. And this was actually one of the most fun live streams to run on my channel by far. Yeah, this was one of the most fun live streams to run off of. Oh wow, look at this. A fairly recent picture from June of 2022. This actually makes sense because this was exactly what we saw when we were there. So let's see. This is July of 2017, so all the games were switched around when we were there. This is where the pressure luck was when we were here. So everything was moved around, as I thought I would see here, but everything in the place was switched around. Yeah, here's a look at a lot of them. And this is where I expected the Deal or No Deal to be. But thankfully that's where the pressure luck was still here. There used to be 2 Deal or No Deals, but now there's only 1. And there used to be 2 Wheel of Fortunes, but now they're down to 1. And they only had 1 pressure luck. I don't know why they're getting rid of Deal or No Deals at this, like 1 Deal or No Deal at the Dave and Buster's. I don't know why. It's pretty weird. And literally there was a naval base not too far from where our hotel was, where we were. There was literally a naval base right nearby, and they were doing active military training. And then of course for dinner, we did Captain George's Seafood. This was similar to the Captain George's in Myrtle, when we were in Myrtle Beach. In Myrtle Beach, we went to the seafood buffet. And of course, they had all these foods to choose from, along with desserts. So, particularly, I did the fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, hush puppies, and then I'll see you of the saltine crackers and some chocolate chip and raisin cookies. I actually had a couple of those. And of course, in another video, if you saw, yes, they literally rickrolled me at the place. And you know, I am never visiting places like that again if they rickroll me. No. Captain George's, how dare you rickroll me? That's it. That's it. I am never visiting you again. Never in my life am I ever visiting Captain George's ever again after you rickrolled me. Yeah, if you see my video and listen on titled that and you listen closely, if you listen very carefully, you could hear it, but good thing all that talking blurred out the copyright, so that's really good though. And then of course after the seafood buffet, we were going to do a go to the first landing, but we decided not to. So instead, what we did is we spent our last day on the beach. I knew we finally had to get the beach in at some point, so we did the beach. And then of course we spent one last night in Virginia Beach, and then our trip begins back to Richmond. So of course we did the opposite way. I-264 West during the weekly test Wednesday session, which of course went very well. That will premiere tomorrow. So we went down I-64 in the other direction. Oh wait, that's 564. We want 64. And the backup was not as long as the other time, which was very good. So we took I-64 all the way. But of course we had to make a few other stops in Richmond along the way. So we kept going on I-64. However, we came across an accident, so we got off at US 60 for a little bit, but then eventually we got back on the road and continued our journey. And continued our journey back west. And then eventually we came to 295. We got onto 295 North, and then we checked out. And then we checked out a museum. And we checked out a couple museums. We checked out a hospital. Yeah, we checked out Cold Harbor. We checked out a famous Civil War era hospital. Then we went to downtown Richmond and did a little bit of a walking excursion over the Belle Isle Bridge. We did the Belle Isle Bridge, and here was Canal Beach. Yes, that's actually a swimming area, although it does say warning. Decide to go into the James River, that you be warned of currents and unknown depths and everything. Of course, in a river, you never know how deep it is until it's too late. North Point Beach. But what was interesting about this specific section here is that we actually got to see the ruins of a previous bridge. So More specifically, we got to walk around this entire island, coming across a hydroelectric plant and a quarry pond, and then eventually we came across to what was left of a cantilever structure that once stood. Those piers here indicate where a cantilever bridge once stood. And then in addition to that, we came across this interesting fountain at the American Civil War Museum. And we actually came across another fountain This one wasn't really a fountain, but it looks like a fountain though, but it's not. This right here is actually is the fountain that I decided to get a video of, and I posted that earlier this evening. So it's this fountain right here. Kanawha County Park at Kanawha Park Plaza, Kanawha Plaza actually. And then there's a cool monument there. And then we were coming in. Let's see if I can remember how we were coming in. It was via I-95. Yeah, it was right around here, I-95. This is where we were coming into Richmond. And actually right here, we came across another interesting fountain. Oh wait, that's not a time when it was operational. Let me go to July. There we go. That's what it looked like when it was functioning. So that's what it looks like. So Chimborazo was actually the hospital that we actually stopped at on the way, and then eventually we then on the last day, eventually then afterward we left Richmond for the airport, which of course once again required us to go east on I-64. And yes, we actually took the section of I-64 and I-95, so 64-95. So we did 64-95 south. So we went on 64-95, and then we left. Oh no, that's the westbound direction. We do not want to go west. We actually continued east on I-64. So we took 64 east over all of these things, and then eventually we reached our final hotel at the airport. Lamberham Avenue, that was actually where we would stop later on, but this was actually our final hotel on the trip, the Homewood Suites by Hilton in Richmond. We did not do the pool. Of course we wouldn't. But here's a little bit around the hotel. And our room actually looked pretty nice. Yeah, this is exactly what it looked like. You can see it had a kitchen, it had a fold-out bed, it had basically everything. Everything you'd need in a hotel. And then that same night, we went to this place was actually on my bucket list for some time now, This is Longhorn Steakhouse. We actually stopped here at Longhorn Steakhouse for dinner. And of course, during the severe weather event in Ohio, I did have a burger, and man, it was good. It was good. And Longhorn Steakhouse, I definitely rate that 10 out of 10. Oh yeah, and earlier I was showing the Wawa self-checkouts, so let's see if we can find them. Let's see if we can find the self-checkouts here at this specific one. That's where you order your food. Just during the winter. See if we can find it at this Wawa. Well, Wawa was like a Speedway, so. Maybe there weren't any self-checkouts at this Wawa in particular, or maybe they're not in any of these views. But either way. So then, of course, we had late breakfast at the Homewood. Then eventually we packed up. I got the Cleveland Weekly along with it. We drove over to the airport, dropped off the rental car, and then we waited for a few hours because our flight was delayed, and then eventually around 2 p.m. we were finally able to board our plane and fly back here. So of course we had dinner at Grandma's, and then we were thinking about stopping at a grocery store along the way, but eventually we decided to bail out of that at the last second. So I'm glad they actually made that decision. And from that Jungle Golf place, I actually got a spinning ball. It's actually one of those it's one of those light up globe balls. It does shine bright, but not as bright as those fans. Not as bright as those spinning windmills, as I like to call it, that I have. Okay, so now that was one section done. Alright, so now that was one section done, let's actually go through now the remaining list of monthlies, plus I will need to make some changes to my website as well, because this is something that we're going to need. But before we do so, I actually discovered, so now on to the next segment, because I actually discovered something interesting here. So, here's Kings Mountain. And I actually did log a lot of the stations already. So, here's Asheville, North Carolina.
Lows in the mid-60s. West winds around 5 miles an hour. Saturday,
And,
sunny.
as I DX through this receiver, I am happy to announce that we have a lot of GSP's coverage back.
Official National Weather Service forecast for Rock Hill and vicinity. Rest of tonight.
This is Rock
cloudy
Hill,
with isolated showers.
27.
Lows in the lower
And
70s. Mostly
here's
cloudy.
WXL70.
Lows in the lower 70s.
Here's WXL70 Charlotte.
5 miles an hour.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Partly sunny in the morning, then becoming mostly sunny. Humid with highs in the lower 90s. Southwest winds around 5 miles an hour. Friday night, partly cloudy. Lows in the lower 70s. Southwest winds around 5 miles an hour. Saturday, mostly sunny. Humid with highs in the
And here's
mid-90s.
WC71 Greenville.
Southwest winds around
Signal was kind of bad, but yes, I did pick it up.
winds around 5 miles an hour.
So yeah, here
The
it is.
extended forecast for the listening area. Sunday, sunny. A slight chance of rain. Highs in the mid-90s.
I'm going to leave it running
Chance of
for a little bit.
precipitation 20%. Heat index values up to 100. Sunday night.
As I
partly
went
cloudy.
through the Los
Lows in
Angeles
the lower
receiver,
70s. Monday, mostly sunny. A chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the lower 90s. Chance of rain 40%.
so as I went through the Los Angeles receiver, I actually came across all
Monday
these that
night,
were already
mostly
logged.
cloudy.
Here's this
Lows
one.
in the lower 70s. Tuesday, mostly sunny.
So here's KEC 62 San Diego. Here's KWL22 Malibu Marine.
Heat index values up to 100.
And then here's Santa Ana.
Night, mostly cloudy.
Here's
A chance of
WWF
showers and
62
thunderstorms
Santa Barbara.
until midnight. Lows in the lower 70s. Chance of rain
Here's
50%.
Victorville.
Wednesday, mostly sunny. Storm Estelle chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the lower 90s.
While the thermal low will
Chance of rain
remain over the
50%.
desert
Avalon.
southwest,
Heat
high
index
pressure
values
will go
up to
beyond
100.
And then
the
here's
offshore waters through
Wednesday,
Saturday.
KWL
partly
37.
cloudy.
The coastal
chance of
waters
showers and
forecast for
thunderstorms
the
until
following
midnight.
inner waters from Point
Lows in
Lookout
the
to
lower
San Mateo
70s.
Point.
Chance of rain
California, including
40%.
Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara
Mostly
Island.
sunny. A chance of showers and
So yeah, that's what I
thunderstorms
got
in the
on that
afternoon.
receiver.
Highs in the lower 90s.
And then I actually came across, and then I came across a second Lexington receiver because I can actually access it now.
Now here is the hazardous weather outlook for northeast Georgia. South Carolina. For tonight. Isolated thunderstorms
Now, what's actually
are
interesting
possible
about
through the
this
late evening
receiver
hours.
is that I actually found this station.
It was clear on the radio. The temperature was 76L70, broadcasting from a tower on Spencer Mountain in Reno, North Carolina, operating on a
I'll let
frequency
you
of
listen to the ID of Charlotte
162.475
first.
megahertz. This transmitter is serving the Piedmont of the Carolinas. The current time is 12:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. These are the midnight Eastern Daylight Time observations for the Charlotte metropolitan area on Friday, July 22nd. At Charlotte Douglas International Airport, it was clear. The temperature was 78 degrees, the dew point 74, and the relative humidity 87%.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is Charlotte, North Carolina. I am so happy to announce that we have finally gotten a majority of GSP's coverage back. However, the only transmitter that we're missing now, the only transmitter that we're now missing is just Mooresville. We're missing Mooresville. I would love to see Mooresville come back and then we will completely have GSP. But Winston-Salem will take over for right now. And, yep, when I was going through this receiver, I found
This is partly cloudy
Hazard,
and
Kentucky.
temperatures were between 70.
How did I confirm it? I was looking through the NOAA transmitter propagation when I heard the counties on the hazardous weather outlook, and I found KH40 on channel 4, and I thought, oh yep, this is hazard. So I marked it down, and so ladies and gentlemen, we have officially expanded Jackson, Kentucky's coverage. So now we can get alerts on this receiver, which is what I am very happy about. And one more thing, on this Edinburgh, Indiana receiver, yeah, on this receiver here, I actually just logged this. I actually logged this last night. This is WWG 72 out of Georgia, Indiana. Yep, that was the ID. Yeah, that was the ID you just heard. So yeah, that was the ID you just heard. So yeah, that confirms that that indeed was Georgia, Indiana. So here, let me set it back to where it was before I entered this receiver. So GSP's coverage has been expanded once again. We have more counties now for GSP and Raleigh respectively, so I am very happy about that. But now it's time for us to actually talk about the next thing. So, while I was over in Virginia Beach, there were actually a lot of new weeklies. But first, I'm going to show you what we have left of the month. So, you can see we're down to 5 more tests in the eastern U.S. If we go to the western U.S., this is what we have left. I did not get these, of course, because of the flight. Or it was just a bad signal or bad programming of my reminder system. I don't know what it was, but this is what we have left. This is what we have left here of this month. And now to the actual seriousness. The Auto Weekly section. Now, again, as I said, there are actually a lot of new Auto Weeklies now. So, we have this one right here, WBOO. So yeah, starting off this list, we actually have a replacement for WCLC's time slot. And the new station in its place is WBOO out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. So yeah, WBOO is the new station, and it's in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, which is somewhere. So it's going to be in the. It's either going to be in the Madison, or so it's going to be in either the Madison or the La Crosse clusters. It's going to be in either one. Let's see which cluster it's going to fall under. See if I can figure out which transmitter cluster it's going to fall under. Probably going to fall in the La Crosse cluster, isn't it? Okay, it's glitched for some reason. It's not marked. Yeah, it's not marked down somewhere, but let me see where this takes us to. This takes us to an independent player. So WBOO will actually now be at midnight, so right after the weekly in Kansas. How exciting. So WBOO 12 a.m. So yes, we have a replacement now for. So now we have a replacement for WCLC. Isn't that great? But now, of course, we go into some of the other things as well. And we just have a few new ones in here. So we still have the WJBT, WTIK, WJZ, FM. I'm going to switch it between WJZ AM and FM. I'm going to switch between the two to match the order that's in the Global Weather Society website. WLIF, WMMX, and then WKYS after that. And then of course a lot of the things in the Jacksonville cluster remains no different. WAPE, WEZI, WGKL, WMMJ. I've actually taken a lot off because a lot of these aren't streamers. Yeah, the WGKL, WXXJ, and WMMJ. So this, then WMMJ. And then, of course, KXWI, and then WOMC and WYCD. And then of course we have WMBG and WOL. And then we have WBZI, which I'm now marking it as 216 because that's apparently its test time. They haven't corrected that yet. WYCB, of course, is right after that. And then we have the Boston cluster. Starting with WBWL. WJMN. WKOX is new, but we're not adding it into this list. WKRO. WXKS. Then WZLX. Then WZRM. And then we have these as usual, which have no changes, but then we have another one. Give me 1 second here, then I will explain it. It's gonna take a while to get all that air out of my ears from the airplane. Jeez. But anyway, then of course we have WLS after that. I do not know where in the world it went. There it is. And then we have KULO and KIKV. But then of course we have KBT and after that. But we have a new guest joining us. KAOC out of Cavalier, North Dakota. Assuming where Cavalier is, it has to be in the Grand Forks cluster. And there it is. And it does work. So they will be joining us with all those stations in this cluster here. So I'll go ahead and add that in now. KOC at 3:05 a.m. along with those other guys. So KAOC will be joining us with KBTN. Is going to join us with KBTN, KJML, and KQIX, and then of course we have KNTA, KYUS, and KIKC coming up immediately after. Then we have KMTA and KYUS joining immediately after that at the 3-ton time slot. KROG and KRVC, we don't have streams for those anymore. Then of course we do not have any changes here. However, if we do, this is why I did not get the monthly here. Oh, okay, looks like this is pulling up the old layout. Okay, so this is pulling up the old layout. Because when I actually went to the Odyssey website, they actually pulled up it actually pulled up instead the new layout. So I'm actually gonna press listen here. Oh yeah, it actually does pull up the old layout on mobile. But when I actually go to the Odyssey website, it actually pulls up its new layout. So if I just do Odyssey.com and then just type in like the individual station, like KDKA, I could just talk stream in iHeart. Oh, that's right, the Chicago iHeart test. That's why we're here. I will join the stream in a moment. So we can just type KDKA radio, get rid of the listen, and then we will get the old layout. That's good. So now we can just use this layout and go back. Of course, now I need to figure out when the Pennsylvania Monthly was, so we know it was during the Marty Griffin show, so we can just hit the button and go back. But yeah, let's continue on. So no new changes here. So of course there are no new changes in this section. Oh yeah, and there was actually another thing I discovered. So, even though KCBS is not a streamer, I actually discovered something interesting. I need that. I actually discovered something interesting on not just KCBS, but I also found out that I can actually use this receiver to pick up KFBK out of Sacramento. It was somewhere here. Maybe it wasn't on this receiver. It was probably on another one. Yeah, it was probably on another receiver. There's a lot of them used up. I think it was on this one. Yeah, it was likely on this one. Yeah, it was on that receiver previously. Yeah, I did DX620 and I did get KTAR, although I didn't hear it. I actually confirmed it. Right here is KCBS, so we can actually use this receiver to get the KCBS test. We don't have to wait anymore. Isn't that exciting? We don't have to skip it now. I'll actually try that out. And also, here's KFBK, Sacramento. See, we don't have to worry about the stream. So isn't that interesting? So yeah, I will still leave it off the website for the time being. Of course, KDKA is 93.7 The Fan, and I believe there was another one as well. That was on. Let's see. Then I believe there was another one. Yeah, I believe there was another one too. WCHZ, WHDD, KIFM, I'm assuming, is now not a streamer, from what the Global Weather Society can confirm. And then KLBL, and then KLXQ. And it looks like KQUS has apparently joined in, but I don't see it anywhere on this list here. Let me search it up. No, I do not have it on the list yet, so I'm going to go ahead and add it now for the complete collection. I did not add it because it wasn't working originally. when I first discovered it, but I'm going to go ahead and add it now. So KQUS 6:05 a.m. and then we'll go ahead and add it in. So, and then after we're done with all this, we'll play around with the self-checkout things that I recorded earlier. All right. So then WGUS, and then WKXC, then KACV, and then we actually have a new station after that. It's KEWR. It's actually KEWR out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So it's actually KEWR IP, or LP, I should say. It's a LP, so it's a local primary station for the Cedar Rapids area. This is the he's changing things here. I'm just gonna go ahead and exit the receiver.
Please.
Let me stop that before it outputs any further audio. 97.5. Yes, this is the receiver right here. This is the same tune-in live stream right here. The same one.
Died last month.
This one does not have any ads, so that's good. Very good. So I will go ahead and add that. Although it doesn't say it's a streamer, we're going to find that out on Sunday. So KEWR, and the test happens anywhere between 9:52. So it can happen anywhere between 9:52 and 10:14 a.m. So it can happen anywhere in that time frame. And I am adding the link anyway. So just when you think it's over, it's not. Next is actually WJUL out of Hiawassee, Georgia. This is actually a new one, and it happens at 11:59 p.m. a.m. Eastern Time. So I will actually round that up to 10:59 a.m. because remember, I'm in the Central Time Zone, so everything is an hour behind the Eastern Time Zone. So that's why I'm rounding some of this stuff down to Central Time. And then of course we do not have any further changes. We still have WOKA, we still have KDKA, we still have WYMM, we still have WHLJ, we still have WCMM, and this time I'm actually going to correct the order. And then we have let me undo it. Then we still have WJGKL, WGLQ, WGMV is a part of this, so that goes in here. Then WUPF, and then on Monday the Kentucky stations are still unchanged. And yes, the Tampa stations and the Charlottesville test, Sibley, Montana, all remain unchanged. Yes, WTTR, still the same. WKRD, still the same. These two are no longer streamers. But now, right after KRMG, there are actually going to be 3 Michigan stations that are going to test right before North State Public Radio, and I'm actually going to change the link this time because this link apparently no longer works, but I'm going to try it again anyway just to verify. Yeah, it doesn't work. I'm going to change it to the North State Public Radio website in addition to adding these new streams. So WCCY, WHKB, and WOLV are actually the new ones. And those will happen at 1:59 a.m., so that's going to be right before all of these. But I need to see what cluster they fall in. Because I need to see what cluster these three fall in. And they fall in this cluster. And they all fall in the Houghton cluster. So it's served by Marquette. So we will go ahead and add these now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to go in order here. WCCY at 1:59 a.m. There you go. That's the first one. I'm going to place it in this section. The second one, WHKB, WOLV, oh wait, that's the same link. There we go. There we go. Insert the station. Now, to change the link for this station. Now, to change the link for North State Public Radio. So we're going to change it to North State Public Radio's website, KCHO. So we're good there. Alright, so then nothing else changes from this point on. Alright, so then nothing else has changed. Nothing else has changed from here. KVOO, then we have KXBL, then we have KSTB, then KEBZ, KHTT, and then we have WGY. I'm going to go in the order as it states. WGY and WTRY. Well, remember, a lot of these aren't streamers. Then we have WJCT, of course, the Jacksonville public thing. Then we have the Houston Odyssey cluster. And then, of course, later on we have Houston's Odyssey cluster. And then WLK, which remains unchanged. And so does Results Radio. That also remains unchanged. And this also remains unchanged. And also, I have found that that same receiver in Tucson, I can actually use that to pick up KOA. So, I might no longer use that stream too. How nice is that? KBHN. And so far, nothing new has appeared, but we will eventually see something come up a little later. So then WDTL, WIBT, WIQQ, and WNIX, those Mississippi stations. And then we have those stations in Oregon, like we've had before. And we've had those stations in Oregon, KFXX, KHIC, and then KLED, and KDAL, and KTCO, KDKE, those. But then, after WYAB, we actually have another station joining WYAB. That's going to happen approximately 30 minutes after. This is KCAC, which comes out of Camden, Arkansas. So this is KCAC that comes right out of Camden, Arkansas. So this is their... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Alright, so KCAC, and this happens at 6:30 a.m. So that's great. When I start school in August, I get to get 2 weekly tests in the morning. How interesting is this going to be? So how interesting is this going to be? Well, this is actually now going to get a little more interesting because we have more stations. And of course, we have WYAB, we have that new station, and then of course those those Wyoming stations, which again remain unchanged. We have KGIN and that KGO, but we actually have 2 new stations on Monday. We have KBRY out of Sargent, Nebraska, which I'm sure I believe we've gotten alerts off of here before, haven't we?
FM 92.3.
Yeah, it was the ID. So KBRY, and that happens at 10:39 a.m. Here's the link for it. And then, of course, we have the KGDD and the WOS. But then, KWAW is also new, and that comes out of the Northern Mariana Islands, which, of course, you all know this is right near Guam. So, now it's actually Guam that's getting involved. However, this is at 3 p.m. Guam time. I will go ahead and, now if I go to the Northern Mariana Islands, and I actually zoom in here and I'll just pick a random location. I'll just do Cagman right here. So, this is at 3 p.m. GMT, or in other words, Guam time. So, I'm sure you all know where this falls at. So, this would fall at the midnight area. So we're going to go ahead and listen here. And it does work. Perfect. Alright, so KWAW, and we're going to round this to 12:08 a.m. because this falls into the next day. So, since it does fall into the next day, we're going to go ahead and put it in that area. And that about takes care of this section. And we're going to go ahead and move on to Tuesday. So far, there are no changes, except right here. KBYI out of Rexburg, Idaho. This happens at 3:25 a.m. So this is going to be right in between WAXX and WNBX. One out of Wisconsin and Jensen. It's a classical music station. I'll just go and lower the in private window until we need it. So KBYI. And remember, again, I'm rounding all of this to Central Time, just for the pleasure of me getting all of this stuff. Let me reorganize this list here, but still, this is ending up being small, but I don't know how much longer it's going to last, because we have another one right here. We actually have several new ones in this list. Next is KTPD, which is out of Del Rio, Texas. And this happens at...
Support for TPR comes from UT Austin's McComb School of Business, stirring up business since 1922. Their executive MBA program meets in person once a month. Registration for the July 25th virtual info session is at texasmba.com.
That's the sponsor there, just for those who are curious on who's providing this stream. But anyway, KTPD, and it happens at 4:07 a.m. 7 a.m. So it actually is going to happen right here. And actually, that happens right before these, if they even are going to do their test. We're going to still see if this station streams it or not. But we actually do have a new station as well. KVSH out of Valentine, Nebraska. And this could happen anywhere between 10:45 and 10:50 a.m. Similar to KSU in some way. But there's no audio on it at the moment. So something must be up with the station. But that's okay. That's alright by me. So anyway, KVSH, and that will happen anywhere between 10:45 to 10:50 a.m. Okay, and now that fills up the Tuesday section. Cool. Now we're going to go over to Wednesday. And so far, it looks like we do not see any major changes. However, when we come here, we have a new station. WKML. Oh wait, that's not it. WQDC, that's it. Out of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah, out of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, and this happens at 3:15 a.m., 3:15 in the morning. So that's going to be right between WFER and WCWI. So WQDC, that can happen at 3:15 a.m. We'll add that in. But so far, no major adjustments and changes are needing to be made in terms of adding other new tests. WNFL, I might want to add that back, but I'm not going to because I can. So, then there's that, but so far no other changes have come about. So then we still have WSPC Albemarle and KGLT Montana. We still have those stations in yeah, of course, you know we still have right. Then we still have WJAS, and then we have WIAL, the Variety I-94 thing, which I heard a new song on. I'm looking to add that to my radio station, and I'll do that tomorrow. And then we have WMOH, then we have KBTO, which I'm actually going to change its time, because now it happens a minute earlier, so 10:09 a.m. And then we still have WSVS and WVHL. Yes, WSVS, by the way, is still a streamer. However, I have observed that they have dropped the iPause test. They have dropped the iPause thing from the list. KXLE out of Ellenburg, I still have not gotten that, so I need to get into the groove with this thing. But whatever. WHAP out of Hopewell. Of course, we still have KSU, WGPA. Nothing new has happened. Nothing new has changed here, except for this, because we have two new stations out of Montana. Of course, if the weekly test compilation that I'm going to be premiering, we have two new auto weeklies on Wednesday, and this is actually right in between. This is actually right smack dab in between our break, you know where we have the auto week, where we have the NOAA weeklies going dormant. Well, now we have an auto weekly ending the first half, and then we have another auto weekly ending the second half. And then we actually have another auto weekly to kick off the second half of the show. So, we got KUFM at 3:06 p.m. Central Time. And then after that, no other changes have been made to Wednesday's schedule. because we still have KKBT, and then we still have KHLJ, WVUV, then WKAH, and WCKA. We still have those. And then on Thursday, which was yesterday, we do not have any major changes to address. But the only addition is KXGN's TV station, which there does not appear to be a stream for, so we do not need to make any additional changes at the moment to Thursday. As for Friday, however, of course, you know, this is what we're going to be dealing with here in the next few moments. We, of course, have all of these here. You know, of course, I've only selected a few stations from the cluster that do still stream. WCHI. I'm going to correct that call sign while I'm at it. There we go. Call sign has been corrected. And then we still have a lot of these here. Remember, all these are still streamers, even though they're in here. But then we still have KHAS and KLIQ, and then KKPR. But we actually have a couple of new auto weeklies in this section. The first one is WEZB out of New Orleans, which kind of is a replacement for WWL in some way. This actually happens at 5:38 a.m. So, kind of a late test, if you remind me. So I'm going to go ahead and see if it works before I add it. You know, it's best if you check the stations to see if they work first before you add them. Because if you check if they work before you add them, then you won't have to worry. So you can see it is taking too long, and so eventually it's probably going to fail. So we are going to search up the stream individually. On this one right here. We're going to look it up individually, and then we have a working stream of the station. Beautiful. So I can just copy it right here, insert it, and there we go. So that's one of the new auto weeklies for Friday. And then, of course, we still have WDEC, but we have another new auto weekly. This one is WCBS FM. No, it's not WCBS News Radio, like you're thinking. This is WCBS FM, and I'm actually going to use this because it has the old layout. I do not like the new layout. It does not act well. Anyway, WCBS FM, and this one actually happens between 10:29 and 1:10 p.m. Between 10:29 a.m. and 1:10 p.m. So it can happen anywhere in between those times. And of course we still have WZU and KLHT. But then for Saturday, oh boy, the end of the list, and it gets interesting. The first is WXRT. And this actually happens at 12:05 a.m. So this is actually one of those rock stations out of Chicago. And since this is out of Chicago, I might actually be able to DX it. So, let's see if I can actually pick it up. We want 93.1. Let's see if this actually matches. So I'm going to play it and listen and see if it matches what I'm hearing on the radio. Yep, I am actually picking it up. Okay, so since I'm actually picking that station up, we can actually use the actual station for the test, and we don't have to use the stream. How nice is that? And then, of course, we have WJFK. And then, of course, you know what we have next, right? WJFK and then KSL. But I'm actually going to be changing the link for KSL because the tune-in stream does not work. So I'm going to change the stream for KSL to Odyssey. So I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull up WXRT's Odyssey. I'm going to pull up WXRT's Odyssey first. Then I'm going to pull up KSL on Odyssey, because on this I have a better chance of rewinding the test. So, yep, here we go. KSL. I think if I just type it in here. Nope. What's it called? KSL News Radio. Here, let's type it in until we get it. Nope, not found still. Maybe if we just go to KSL's website, how about that? Let's see. Let's see if it is an Odyssey station. And if we go to listen live, we have their stream right here. We could actually listen to this, but you know what? We are still going to pull up KSL on Odyssey. So, still, we're going to do KSL. Oh, wait, no. I have to go over here, and I'll change the link for KSL on Odyssey. So, there we go. But now, it gets even more interesting, because that's not all. We have more. We have WUMX. I'm just going to go ahead and close all of this here. Next, we have WUMX out of Rome, New York. And this happens at 2:59 p.m. a.m. Central, along with WZUN out of Phoenix, New York. So they both go at the same time. Okay, so we will need to look it up individually. And we have a tune-in stream. We have a stream. I'm going to use the MyTuner for this one. Let's see if it works. Yeah, just get out of here. I don't care. Does it work? Yes, it does. Alright, so we'll go ahead and use the MyTuner stream here. So WUMX. UMX. No, not MX. At 2:59 a.m. It's going to be right after KSL. Okay. And then next is WZUN, which also does not work. So we will need to find an individual stream. It's an AM station, but we are looking for the FM channel. This is AM. Yep, this one, if this is our only option, and so this is the station we have. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right, there was no sound on it though, but it does work. So WZUN, also at 2:59 a.m. So a lot of new stations are being discovered here. And then of course we have WRUS, WPRT, which I've been forgetting about, and then WAGO and WZGO, KCMR, I do not know if this is actually right, but I'm still going to count it anyway. But now here's where it gets additionally interesting, because now, along with Birmingham and WDFA's time frame, right in between, 3 stations in Nebraska. It's in
Power south of JBS on Stewart Road, Grand Island, or online all the time at ProPowerGI.com.
Yes, Grand Island. That is where these come out of. And since KFTI is not a streamer, I'm going to go ahead and remove that from the list. So, KKJK is actually a news one, and this happens anywhere between 11:04 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. So it happens anywhere between these 3 time slots. I don't think KCMR is even a thing, but whatever. KRGI is the next one, and that also happens at the same. So these are basically all the stations that can test at the same time, so you never know which one will be going when. So boy, this Saturday is going to be really interesting because we get to deal with all these tests at the same time. So let's go ahead and add this in now. And yes, it does work, so because I just saw audio start to play. And then finally, this new one right here, KRGY. And since I still don't know if KCMR is actually a streamer or not, I'm going to move this into the unconfirmed section. So I'm going to move that to the unconfirmed section. So I'm going to move it to unconfirmed, just so that way these are all straightened out. But still, Tuesday still has the less amount of weekly. Actually, Tuesday and Saturday have the equal amounts of weeklies. But Sunday and Monday still hold their ground as the greatest amount. Now, let me see what this actually plays. So I don't know if he was actually right, if this is a streamer or not. But still, I'm going to move this into the unconfirmed section for the time being, and we will add new stations into this list as we see fit a little bit later on. But for right now, that is the new set of auto weeklies. That there is no more weeklies, really. Well, we do have some auto weeklies tonight. This one is new. I will be getting this one later in the morning, so boy, I'm ready for this. This is going to be so good. Alright, so now comes the other section, which actually now involves me making the screens for those new stations, and I'll also be making an updated list of, I'll also be making an updated screen collection video at some point tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably make an updated screen collection, which will include these updated screens. So we are now going to go ahead and we're going to start. I've already collected a list here. But yeah, before we start that, I actually do have the I actually did make all of these here, the self-checkout.
Card not accepted.
These are actually
Card not accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted.
Card not accepted. Card not accepted.
Card not accepted. Card not accepted.
cash or insert cash or insert cash or select payment type. Insert cash or select payment type.
Insert cash or select payment
Type. Insert cash or select payment type. Insert cash or select payment type.
Yeah, these are actually direct copies of the voiceovers on the NCR self-checkouts. But that's not all. I actually have all of these here from Toshiba, NCR. Let's play them all at once. Why not? There's only 18 of them. And the thank you for shopping at Walmart is also in here as well. Oh, jeez.
Your frequent shopper card. Scan your frequent shopper card. Scan your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Please take your card. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Thank you for shopping at Walmart. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Each item must be placed in the bagging area. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag. Your frequent shopper card. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag.
Oh wait, we have someone on. We have Plainfield, actually.
Yeah, I just updated my website to add all those new auto weeklies. The new ones from the new ones that the Global Weather Society have confirmed. Place the item in the bagging area.
So basically the stream is a talk stream and a hangout stream, and we're gonna be reacting to the new convective outlooks, and then we're getting iHeart. So that's basically what the stream is. And Jeffy just left State College, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. And what I am about to do on my stream is I'm actually about to add those new produce those new screens from those streams that I found, or the stations that I found when I went through the global tuner receivers.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Plainfield. Did you get that other special marine warning that Lot issued?
I did get the other one.
Yeah, it's kind of random.
Oh,
the storm kind of weakened out, and I thought they weren't going to issue another one. Wait, we have another person? Okay, we have...
Hey. Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Hey.
I saw your stream got hacked again.
It's just a freaking 299 guy. He's not even doing anything to harm me. He's just changing our names to 2999999. We're just making a laugh about it.
Okay.
And I don't even... We're just laughing. How dare you be 29999? Okay, no.
Who the hell even is 299? Jeffy. Jeffy's gone.
Oh, I thought that was Jeffy.
Oh no, he died.
We're going to clear the entire thing.
Oh, good.
And we're going to start over. Alright, we're going to clear the whole thing, and we are going to start over.
I wish Report would die.
Card not accepted.
Accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted.
Card not accepted.
Card not accepted.
Card not accepted. Card not accepted. Card not accepted.
What? Okay, another one.
Yeah, pay another way.
Oh yeah, the pay another way. Yeah. Insert cash or select payment type. Have you scanned your frequent shopper card?
Have you scanned your frequent shopper card? Please go to the bathroom and check your ass.
Oh no!
That's what the Walmart bot says. Please go to the
No, that's not what the self checkout at Walmart says. It doesn't say about the frequent shopper card thing.
It says the frequent shopper card though.
Unmatched coupon.
Unmatched coupon.
Unmatched coupon.
Please take your receipt. Cash is dispensed below the scanner.
Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
Okay, no.
Thank you for shopping at
Thank you for shopping at Burger King.
Thank you for shopping at Jewel Osco.
Thank you for shopping at your whole entire family. Okay, what?
Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
Thank you for shopping at Home Depot.
Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
At Wall. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag.
Please remove the bag from what? I don't
Unexpected item in bagging area. Remove to continue. Unexpected item in bagging area. Remove this item before continuing.
Oh. Please go back to your house now.
Yeah, working out finding a good screen, good picture of Rock Hill, South Carolina to use.
Oh, you mean KHC27?
Yeah, that new stream I found on that global tuner receiver.
Are you talking about Global EAS?
No, I'm talking about globaltuners.com, that service I had signed up for recently.
Global tuners, not like your mom tuners. Okay, no.
I actually really like the global tuners thing because now I can actually get a lot more stations that I was not able to get previously.
Wait, do you have to pay for like that?
It's actually free, but if you want to access additional receivers, then that's what the premium thing is, and that's what you have to, and that's something you have to pay for. It's the premium thing. It's the premium thing, which is optional, but that's something you have to pay for. Like a premium subscription.
Premium subscription, more like shitty temporary subscription. I went to a weather radio shop and the self-checkout thing told me to throw my version 5 away. But I had one of those and then they just, like, after like a few minutes of using them, it just completely broke. Mine's still holding up after a year, so maybe now approaching 2 years.
Yay.
Mine died 3 hours. I got it.
3 hours after you got it?
Yep.
Wow.
It hasn't broken. Bro, throw your version 5 against the wall now. Throw your version 5 in your toilet and shit on it, then flush it down. Yeah, throw it against the wall with the hammer. Have Jeffy
Oh,
Jeffy
jeez.
clean it. Oh wait, I forgot.